Hey there BCC, you are back with me, Mitch Forbes. It's me, Mitch Forbes, the chaplain at your school. You're here with me today for another installment of, I guess, our lockdown tales. I don't know how much longer lockdown's going to go. It could go to for ages from now on, who knows, maybe to the end of the term. I haven't heard word about any of that. But I thought what we're going to do for these talks for the rest of the term is this. We're going to look at the key Christian virtues. These are virtues, so characteristics that Christianity basically invented. They didn't even exist before Christianity was around. The three Christian virtues, we're going to look at them, and we're just going to keep looking at them for as long as this thing goes. Unless it goes for the rest of the year, in which case we'll change and do something different. The three Christian virtues, they come up in 1 Corinthians 13, and they actually come up all the way through the New Testament. But in 1 Corinthians 13, verse 13, it says this: "Now these three remain, faith, hope, and love." And it finishes by saying the greatest of these is love. So they're the three Christian virtues. The three virtues that Christianity invented are hope, faith, and love. And that's what we're going to look at every time we jump on our screens at 2:30 or whatever it is on a Monday. We're going to look at one of those particular things. But by way of introduction, I was reading a great author named G.K. Chesterton. He's a Christian author from the early 21st century. And he had this really interesting thing to say about those three virtues, faith, hope, and love. He said all of them are unreasonable. That is, he thinks they don't even make sense, and they only are virtues when they don't make sense. So he says, in order for love to be love, then it needs to be directed even in the moments you don't feel like loving, or when you're loving people who are unlovely. He said, in order for hope to be hope, it needs to be in the face of hopelessness. Otherwise, it's just betting on the odds. It's just like, yeah, things will probably turn out. And he says, in order for faith to be faith, it needs to be directed towards God in moments where God doesn't seem there or seem available. He says they're unreasonable in that sense, but because of that, they are the most fundamentally beautiful virtues that you could possibly imagine. And they are so important in these moments of crisis, like a pandemic that we happen to be in. So this week I want to look at the virtue of love for the first time. What would it look like for us as Christians to show love to people in this moment that we find ourselves in? Now, oftentimes when I think about showing love to people, I think about, the grand gestures of love that we do for people, the way that we throw them a party, or the way that we write them a song or a poem, or the way that we just buy them expensive things. I've tried really hard to do these grand gestures of love throughout my life. I remember one time I'd watched this movie called The Notebook, and in The Notebook, one of the scenes, Ryan Gosling is the main character, beautiful Ryan Gosling. And one of the scenes, Ryan Gosling is taking his girlfriend at the time out on one of the best dates ever. So they go to like a festival, a show in the showgrounds, and he's like really talented at some of the games. So he wins her like this beautiful teddy bear after winning one of those games. So I remember when Chris and I were early dating, I was like, I'm going to recreate this whole scene. I'm going to do this huge, beautiful gesture of love. So we took her to the showground, and we had hot dogs and Pluto Pups. Man, how long since you had a Pluto Pup? They are like the greatest food I think ever imagined. Who could think of anything better? A frankfurter dipped in batter and then deep fried, smothered in tomato sauce. It's like all my favorite things all coming into this one bit of food. We had Pluto Pups, and then we got to this game, and this was going to be the pinnacle. We're having this great time. We're going on a few rides. We got to this game, and I'm going to win Kristen a wonderful toy. It was a game where they had a can at the end, and there was a ball on a string, and you had to throw the ball past the can and have it swing back and hit the can. Does that make sense to you? The can's here, you gotta throw it past. So I tried it one time. This is gonna be easy. I missed by probably a foot to the other side. It was terrible. So this time I tried to throw a little bit closer to the can. I knocked the can over on the way there. And the third time, I just missed the can as I went past, and the ball went up, and it came back down and it knocked that can flat on the ground. And so I got to get Kristen this beautiful pink teddy bear, and she carried her around all day. And I'm thinking, I am the best at love. I've nailed this love thing. But, you know what? That's an interesting story. But I don't think if I ask Kristen the moments she's felt most loved by me, I don't think she would think about that story. I think she'd think about something else. If I asked Kristen the moment she's felt most love, I don't think it would be when I bought her a present or I took her on a holiday. I think the moment she felt most love from me were the moments where I was just there with her, completely present with her, listening to her. Regardless of how she was feeling, whether she was up, whether she was down, the real test of my love for her is when I'm just there. Now, I think Jesus kind of talks about this. At the end of Matthew's Gospel in Matthew 28, he's been resurrected from the dead and he's leaving the disciples. He's just about to leave them and he's given them a mission to go and make disciples of all nations. And this is what he says to them. His last words to them are this. He says, and know like you know, that I am with you, even to the end of the age. Or, wherever you go, I am with you. What's the greatest sign of Jesus' love for us? It's the fact that he is with you always, that he never leaves you, that he just stays. Notice what he doesn't say. He doesn't say, and know that I love you because I'll fix all your problems. Or know that I love you because I'll protect you from all the dangers around you. He doesn't say that. He says, you will know my love for you by the sheer fact that I will never leave you. I will always be with you. So, if you're thinking about what it would look like to show love in this pandemic to people, maybe the first place you have to go to is simply that. You're not going to fix this for people. You're not going to be able to heal them. But the thing that you can do is just be there with them and not leave them. Now, in Christian history past, the year 250 to 270, there was a terrible plague. It was called the Cyprian plague, after St. Cyprian, who wrote a lot about it. Now, the Cyprian plague moved into Rome, and it said that it was killing 5,000 people a day. Do you know how many people are dying here in Australia each day of the plague? Of the coronavirus or the plague? Maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5, 6? It could get worse and there could be more. But this is 5,000 of people a day from that plague. Now, everyone around the place, or all the important people, all the rich people, they were leaving the cities. Whenever the plague came, they would leave, they would run away. But the Christians, knowing that love was about staying with people in need, they stayed. And they took care of the people who were there. Dionysius, he urges his followers to care for the sick and for the needy. Cyprian himself says the same. This plague might kill you, he says, but you will be there. You will stay with those people and care for the people in need. The pagan Emperor Julian was so impressed by these people. He was kind of angry at them because he was pagan, but he was impressed by them. He said they don't even just take care of their own. It's not like they're just looking after Christians. They're looking after staying with absolutely everyone. They're loving everyone around them. And from that moment, Christianity explodes because it's seen as the religion that takes care of the people who are in need. Are you with me? This is what it looks like to love in a pandemic. Stay with people in need. Now, you might say, how do I stay with people in need? I'm literally locked in my house. I have to stay with my family. Well, you can stay with them, for starters, I suppose. Listen to them. Be there with them. Say kind things to them. That might be the greatest expression of love that you can do in your home when you're locked down at the moment. But I got an example from someone from school, actually. I got an email from a student. I won't tell you her name because it might embarrass her. But she has come up with this beautiful expression of that kind of love for her friends, staying with them, being with them, even via distance. She just created a get-together, a Zoom get-together with her friends, where they catch up, where they hear how each other is going, they share stories, and they try to just genuinely look after each other. Then they pray for different things that are happening around the world and for each other, and they listen to an encouraging message or an encouraging word. Now that is the kind of love of Jesus. The love where he says, and know that I'm with you even to the end of the age. This student and her friends are saying to each other, I'm with you. Even though we're separated by location, by this virus, we're still with each other. What does it look like to love each other? It's just be there with each other. Okay, faith, hope, and love. That is love number 1. I'll catch you up with some more later. Righto, bye.